Welcome to the Vinny Rock Podcast.
Much more than this, I did it my way.
That would be.
One man, two tacos.
Welcome to the Vinny Rock Podcast. I got my boy here, Josh Tyler. We're going to talk about stuff.
We are.
We're already talking about stuff like one man, two tacos. And those are the ones you eat, weirdos. Don't get weird.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about it in that context. I mean, it's Taco Tuesday, so I was legitimately thinking about actual tacos.
Dude, I fucking Taco Tuesday. I've been wanting to eat tacos like crazy, and I've been trying to eat good too, so it's like a tough time.
You
but
can
either
eat
way,
good tacos, right?
You know, they say tacos are actually pretty healthy.
Yeah.
Like generally pretty healthy.
For the most part,
Yeah.
I mean.
Compared to what I would be eating, like if I go to Five Guys and just have,
Right. It depends on where you get them. I mean, the Taco Bell, gorditas and shit like that, I'd probably
those suck.
stay away from. But those aren't real tacos in my mind.
If you go to real fucking taco stand, those are decent ass.
Yeah,
they're
that's
not
great.
bad. Corn tortillas, a lot of fucking. I think the sauces is probably the worst thing you can do. I think that's where you start getting higher on your sugars and your, corn tortillas not bad. It is what it is. Hey, if you're fucking working out hard,
dude,
you need carbs.
It's a great post workout, man.
Right? You just need to fucking burn some carbs, and you need some carbs to fucking re-energize. So that's not a bad one.
I think we just started a fitness program centered around tacos.
You know what's funny? If you just call a healthy taco shop, people are going to believe it. Like, what's the perks of it? Look, I don't know. It's just healthy as fuck.
Is that Instagram handle taken? We're gonna make that.
Hey guys, we're at the Vinny Rock Podcast. I got my boy here, Josh, and we before I get to it, I got to go to some sponsors, if you don't mind. I'm sorry.
Please, by all means.
One of my number one sponsors that I love is Core Medical Group. Core Medical Group does testosterone replacement therapy for those who need testosterone. And it's been proven a lot of veterans who have low testosterone for whatever reasons, whether it's stress, whether it's who knows what it is, they have low testosterone. But you know who else? A lot of law enforcement officers dealing with all the daily stress. And so I recommend you guys, if you guys are questioning your testosterone levels, go get your blood work done. Go get your blood work done and find out for yourself if this is true. And if this is true, hey, easy to fix. Testosterone replacement therapy. I've been on it now for about a year. Super happy with it. I actually wasn't on it for the past couple months because I've been doing the in vitro with my wife, trying to do that. So we had to change it up a little bit. Now, back to full strength, week 2 right now. I'm ready, starting to feel good. And
nice.
it's a great feeling. It feels good. And it's not, the misconception of anabolics. People for some reason get that confused.
Yeah, it's interesting because just like any hormone in our body, right? Testosterone is vital, right? It's got to be at the right level. So, there's a stigma, but you wouldn't begrudge someone for taking insulin if they were diabetic.
Correct.
If your testosterone levels are low for whatever reason, there's no reason not to take that and get them back to where they should be.
That is correct. So I've been doing it now, and I'm super happy with it. I recommend you guys go and check them out. That's Core Medical Group. Core Medical Group. Hit them up. If you guys have questions, find me. I'll send you their information. Beyond Clothing. You ever use Beyond Clothing?
Oh, those guys.
Yeah, they're one of the sponsors. They're
nice.
Outdoor Expeditionary Clothing. They have very high quality jackets, pants, gear. Correct? You've had some stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm actually one of their ambassadors.
Yeah, you are. Tell me about it,
dude. It's awesome. So the cool thing about what they have is at least for me, right? It allows me to go on these expeditions, to go out and explore, to adventure, and no matter how shitty things get out there in the wild, at least I know that what is on my body is going to hold up and do the job and protect me.
Yeah, dude.
Because. Man, I mean, I've been in some pretty sketchy scenarios.
You've done a lot of stuff in snow and survival and all that stuff. You have a quality gear, one that's going to hold up to the terrain, and 2, it's going to protect you from the environment.
Well, and it's modular. It's designed as a system, right? It's not just a jacket or a pair of pants. It's designed to work interchangeably based on the environment, which is going to be dynamic and ever changing, right? So it's never, that's the hard part is like, well, what's the one jacket I wear? It's like, well,
it depends on what you got.
Yeah.
Right. That's something in the military. We had a seven layer winter setup, and people didn't understand. We didn't never get educated the right way how to wear it. We were all trying to figure it the fuck out, right?
Sure,
So
the hard way.
Yeah, so we fucked it up. We walked 6 miles one time in the snow. and I was fucking burning my balls off. And I'm like, what is this fucking cold weather gear? It's too much.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out the right balance without, if it's not sweat wickering, you're fucked, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like your body temperature changes, especially if you're very active in the snow.
Well, if you sweat in the cold and it's below freezing, especially if it's marginally below freezing, you break a sweat and you soak through that base layer, dude, you're done.
You're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. You guys finally had someone who can tell you more about it than I can. I mean, I love it, but I know I've seen you in the pictures, and I'm planning to get in part of that. It's just they've been so busy.
Oh man.
So I don't really stress them out. But
well, that's perfect because now we can carry your ass up in the mountains and do rad shit.
Me and you can go out there and do some dope shit. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking text Rick later. Seriously, I'll let him know. So you guys go check out Beyond Clothing. They're badass. How about Willy Peach Chocolate? Have you tried those yet?
I have not.
What the fuck, dude? They're at the barbershop. Go by the barbershop and grab one, dude. So do you like spicy?
Yeah.
Are you a spicy guy?
Yeah.
Like kind of?
I mean, like gringo spicy. I mean,
ketchup is spicy?
Yeah. Soy sauce is like it's getting there.
Well, dude, he makes the veteran who owns this company, and he makes it out of his own house. He actually is full-time now, 100% Willy Peach Chocolate. Makes outstanding chocolate, dude. And the cool thing is he has different Scoville units. So so some chocolate with no heat at all, and that'll be more like a graham cracker one he has. It's really good. And then it goes into ones that are mild, and that'll have maybe even have Black Rifle coffee in it.
Oh, nice.
And then you go even further down, and you'll have like the Moab, and it's a fucking Carolina Reaper pepper in that. Dude, one tip of the tongue, my wife fucking freaked.
So are they chocolate bars? Is it
chocolate bars, dude?
Okay, dude, man, I tell you what, I am like a dark chocolate.
He has some dark chocolate,
and so like a dark chocolate with like a cayenne pepper. Not so much that it's gonna like
just a little
make you sweat, but it's got a little bit to it, man. That's some good shit.
Bro, he's got something going on that I really love. You got to check it out. Fucking Willy Peach Chocolate. I love them. You should too. And then the last one I'm going to talk about right now before we even jump into this is GMR Gold. Have you heard about GMR Gold?
Yeah. I've seen a couple of posts.
Crispy posts it a lot. Yeah. Dude, really cool company, man. What I've been doing with my kid, and your kid's a little young right now, but maybe when they get older, is I order it once a month, and when I get it in, I let them open it, dude. They freak out, dude.
Yeah, because it's like treasure, man. It's like gold bullion, legitimately.
Exactly. They find gold every time one of those packages come in. So it's been a cool thing for the family, but little do they know, I'm putting away $200 every time that comes in.
Yeah.
Putting that in the safe, letting it go, man. And it's just a cool collection of shit that I'll be able to pass down to them, and they can enjoy. And hopefully for their kids, they can continue to collect gold and silver. But I also know if I need to sell it, I go to GMR Gold and I can sell it.
Well, that's one of those things, and far be it for me to give anyone financial strategy or advice.
Right.
However, it is prudent to have your stuff spread out in other ways. I mean, bond diversification, all these other things, Roth IRAs, whatever you're investing in. Right. Obviously, your banking, your savings, but then having some physical, tangible currency, man, is huge. Yeah, and
it doesn't fluctuate as much as others. It's one of the
on a long timeline, right? You'll see ups and downs.
Yeah, it's just been the most stable. Mm-hmm. And so there it is. I have it in my house. We have tons. I actually need to get a new safe because I'm starting to pack that thing back in.
Nice.
Filled with silver and gold, dude.
Champagne problems right there, buddy.
I love it. But that's it, man. I want to talk to you about you, man. Let's talk about you. All right. You got some cool shit going on. It's cool because we met, man, it's probably got 6 years now, maybe, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. And, we met being part of the whole Ready Man group and being associated with them. And then obviously in the MMA world, me and Matt were always big fans of MMA and training as much as possible. So it kind of where it all kind of came connected was all that combined. Now, you work with Ready Man, you're doing the Beyond Clothing stuff. You're also Savage Gentleman. Yeah. Right? You're also growing that, and that's another brand of yours. And are you still fighting, or have you retired? Or is it you haven't said those words yet?
I haven't said it. It's one of those things where I think I'll always be training. Just because it's something that I love. And, if the right opportunity comes, I will absolutely take it. It's just right now it's kind of taking a back burner. We just had a little guy about a year ago. So, that's our second one. And man, I don't know how you do half of what you do with the number of kids you have. But for us right now too, and I knew that going into it, it's like, okay, my last fight was a couple of years ago. Yeah. After that fight, my wife was pregnant. It's like, okay, man, we're going to pump the brakes a little bit, focus on some other stuff. And right now it's if opportunity arises,
Yeah.
I want to be in a place that I can capitalize on it.
Yeah,
But
if it's the right fight with the right amount of money,
Right.
it makes sense, and you're not going in to just get freaking mollywopped.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, so as long as I feel like I'm physically capable, I think that'll always be on the table. And that could extend into my 40s. Now, making a championship run,
run for the UFC is tough.
Probably a foregone conclusion.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I still can't get in the cage and compete. And worst case scenario, I could always do grappling tournaments if I need to scratch that.
That's
itch.
the hardest thing about the fight world. I've grown up in it for so long, and some people that probably didn't know, like my sister's ex-husband was Jeremy Williams, who was a heavyweight fighter for many, many years. Then went into MMA. He went 6-0 in MMA, went back to boxing, and then eventually retired. But he's in the Amateur Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? And I grew up around this my whole life, watching this guy compete and watching the hardships of a boxer / fighter not figure out when to hang it up.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, we've seen so many fighters in the past years have difficulties because you get drawn into this. You fall in love with the combat of it, right? You fall in love with the energy that comes after the fight and everything build up to the fight and all that. It's so addicting.
Well, it becomes who you are, right? It is your identity. And for us as men in particular, I think our occupation, it's very easy to draw who we are from that. And so whether you're a blacksmith, a mechanic, a doctor,
a veteran,
a vet, a fighter, right? Once you stop doing that, we have this identity crisis. And I think that that's really, really hard for guys to let go. I know for me that prospect is something that I struggle with because I know, it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but I know at some point I won't be able to fight any longer. And so I think I thankfully preemptively started looking into that to realize like, hey, I don't know when this day is going to come, but I know that it will happen. I will not be able to fight for my entire life. And chances are I'll probably still need to do some other kind of work to provide for my family. So that was 5-6 years ago when I actually started hanging out with those Ready Man guys and seeing like, okay, hey, what are some other options that I can pursue for, financial gain, right? And I was able to continue fighting alongside that, but that helped me cultivate some other skills, opened a ton of doors.
Huge. Yeah,
meeting awesome people, creating a ton of opportunities.
All of a sudden, social media opens up, and now becoming a brand ambassador is
now
an
that's
option,
a thing, right?
And as well as now you're a recognizable figure, especially like in Salt Lake. Everyone knows who Josh Tyler is. I believe. I think it's a comfortable. It's
maybe.
It seems like a lot of guys who train know who you are.
Sure.
Everywhere I've ever been, right? You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys know about it. Also with social media and with Matt Best and all these guys, you start becoming more of a household name in the groups, in the
circles.
In our circles, exactly. Which is cool, man. And so, my question to you is how do you enjoy being in the business world now and trying to grow a business? Is that just as much of a thrill as it is getting ready for a fight?
Man, it is, and for me, it's actually much harder. Yeah. Like if I could, it'd be so much easier just to go back into fighting full time. Yeah. I'm not in a position where I can do that because now with a couple, like, it's one thing when you're a young guy, you're unmarried or recently married, you've got no kids or whatever. No big deal, man. You can train, you can live that life, right? When we had my daughter, that was a little bit of a shift, but still workable. Yeah. And then once the second one came along, it's like, all right, man, look, we got to figure out something else.
Yeah, man.
And
because financially, it's a big, people don't realize.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about fighting is there's not as much money as there probably should be.
No, especially if you're not in Bellator UFC, it's hard.
If you're not in the upper 10th percentile.
Right, but the money for a regular fight from a small venue is sometimes, man,
it's
$1,000 to show up, $1,000 to win. Sometimes if you have a decent enough name for that.
And that's if you're decent.
Yeah, if you're a decent enough name. I used to manage fighters in Texas. I don't know if you remember that?
Yeah.
I was telling you, some of my guys was 250 just to show, 250 to win, and you're like, whoa, dude.
And that's dollar. That's $250.
Dollars. Yeah, $250.
Not K. Not.
It didn't cover the hotel and the ride up there.
Yeah.
It never did.
Yep.
It never covered their food and the hotels. I was coming out of pocket as a manager thinking like, well, if one of these guys end up go big, it'll be cool.
It'll pay off.
It'll be cool. But it's like, dude, that's not the fight world is so hard, bro.
Yeah, it is.
I was burning money, but I didn't care. I love the sport so much, and I love to watch guys grow in their sport.
Well, and you'd be surprised even and at the Bellator level.
Yeah.
Like I said, unless you are in the tip top, you're not making much more than that.
No, but you know what, Bellator, they start making money off their sponsorships.
The sponsors
with Bellator.
you can start,
yeah.
If you get in with the right sponsors and you get that hooked up. But even still, now you're looking at to make a reasonable living. You know, you're 4 fights, 5 fights a year.
You better find success.
You better win. You better not get injured.
It's the hardest thing, dude. And the thing is, that's why I love boxing. Well, that's why I loved trying to bring boxers up, because boxing paid your first fight $1,000 to show, $1,000 to win. For your first fight, you can get that, and you're like, whoa, why is the money so
wrong industry?
Yeah, why is the money so good in boxing?
Route.
It is. Money's good in boxing for some reason, dude. You have guys that are 10-0 making fucking $50K, right? And that's good money. That's pretty good money for if you can fight 2 of those in 1 year. Hey man, that's $100K.
Hey, that's not bad at all.
That's $100K. I'm like, all right. You know what I mean? And so that's the interesting thing. The difference in UFC or excuse me, in MMA and boxing is like the pay it hasn't matched up yet. And it's been MMA's been around for years.
It's
what, 20 something years now? And still it's not, you're not.
But look at it in comparison though. I mean, how long has boxing been around?
Forever.
I mean, as a sport, it's been around since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
You know, and then as an organized professional sport, man, I mean, you're talking about guys getting paid to fist fight back in the 1800s, maybe even before that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like old school pugilist type stuff. And so it's one of those things where like looking in the long term, it's like, man, I think it's not fair for my wife and my kids, as much as I love it, you know, to continue down this road when I have all these other more viable means, right? And again, that's not to say that I've completely hung up the gloves, indefinitely, but it's just, man, making the smart play, right, and looking in the long view.
Yeah, it's funny because, I mean, so to know my story, dude, I fought in the Army with Army combatives teams and did all that shit. And I got out and I was like, you know what? And I got rejuvenated in it because I got activated. And when I got activated, half the time I was training in the fight house. So I'll tell you with Jason Norwood, and I was competing and everything. And so I really started like, you know what? I really enjoy it. I liked coaching it. I liked teaching guys the fundamentals of it and everything. And so I started like falling in love with it again. So when I got off active duty or off the activation, I went back into the Border Patrol and I took over a school teaching Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I said, you know what? I should just fight. Why not? You know, I've been training for all these years. I did pretty good in the Army. Why not just go out and just do it? And then I started thinking about like my brother-in-law who's man, rough, right?
Yeah.
And then I started thinking like, do I have enough time to focus on being a really good fighter while I'm doing a full-time border trade on the special operations? Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Will I be able to show up and be the best version of me? Because if I show up not and I get hurt, I don't have anything that's going to cover my kids.
Right.
And that was like my biggest, scariest point because I'm like, man, I'm 20. I think I was like 28 at the time. And I'm like, I'm almost past the fucking prime, right? I'm already getting old. I have to do something in the next 2 years to really do something. And it was just like too many like what ifs. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just coach.
Yeah.
I'll just coach. And, you know, and that's kind of, and I'm still mad at myself for that. You know, I fought some smokers, some dumb fucking amateur boxing things.
Yeah.
Those are all fun and all, but like, I'm mad at myself for not giving myself the chance. But at the same time, like, it was the decision was thought not to get hurt for my family.
Yeah. Well, was the risk ever really worth the reward?
Right.
You know, and I think that there's a difference as well. You know, when I got into fighting, it was never like, hey, this is going to be my career.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I did it because I needed something to fill the void after my collegiate wrestling career. So I wrestled through high school, wrestled through college at Old Dominion. You know, so a D1 wrestler didn't achieve what I wanted to do there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know, man, I need something and came into MMA and I was like, oh, this is cool. I can compete in this and still do that. And after, training for a while, I'm like, oh, I'm not bad at this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, let's do an amateur fight, right? Had an amateur fight, went amazing. Had a couple more amateur fights, went amazing. Ended up 10-0. My first set, won all 7 amateur fights, my first 3 pro fights, and it was like, oh man, maybe there's some some legitimacy to this. This should warrant pursuing, but it was never really about the money. I was in a position where until the kids came along, it didn't really matter if I made money fighting or not. Yeah. It's like that was just icing on the cake. I was doing other stuff. I had side hustles going on. I was teaching for a while. And that was my income. And it wasn't until, the prospect of like a family, like, all right, man, now it's time to shit or get off the pot.
Yeah, now you need rent. Now you need food.
Right? Yeah, no, absolutely. And so, I think for guys, you have to look at it. It's like, well, what is the reason for it? Am I getting in this to be a millionaire? Yeah. Right? Am I fighting so that I can be the next Conor McGregor or Floyd Mayweather or, whoever the highest paid guy is? Right. If that's the case, I would say your intentions are probably not in the right place. I would say you might be putting the cart before the horse. Do it because you love it. And if you happen to make some money at it, great. If not, that's okay too.
I tell people message me all the time saying they want to be actors. They're like, I want to be an actor. I'm like, why? And like, man, I just want to be famous, bro. Like, I just want to be on the Mayans, bro. I want to wear that cut. I'm like, you're doing it for the wrong reason. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't even feel motivated to help you. Right. Because there's no honest.
Well, it's so superficial.
It is.
Right?
It is. And that's the hardest thing is like, I didn't get into be famous. I can give 2 fucks about being famous. Famous does not pay my fucking bills. Straight up. Famous does not fucking raise my kids. Famous does not hold on to my relationship. Nothing. Like, fame is such a fucking illusion, and people are so confused on, like, people chase that so much. They want notoriety, and I think that's the wrong answer, right? I think you will get notoriety once you believe in the art of acting. Sure. And you appreciate the art of acting, well, then it'll show when you act. And when it shows when you act, there goes the notoriety of being a great actor. Not a famous person, a great fucking actor.
It's the same thing with fighting. We get guys who come in the gym all the time, and they, day one, they're like, I want to get my first fight. I'm like, dude, you don't know anything, man.
Dude. Yeah, do you want to get your first loss, bitch?
Right, yeah, you're trying to get your ass handed to you? And they're and these guys have this notion like, well, I just know it. I was born to be a fighter. And it's like, based off of what? Yeah, dude. Because I want it. Like,
it's not how it works, dude.
It's like, well, and we talked to a guy like Jeremy Horn and I sat down with this kid who came in and he just wanted it. And he knew in his heart of hearts, man, that he was destined to be a fighter. And we're like, okay, cool. You don't have any training, right? So you need to get some knowledge under your belt before you step in there. And he's like, no, I just know I can win because I want it. And like, okay, well, let me ask you this then, guy off the street who's going to be the next UFC champ. How much can you bench press? And the guy was like, oh, I don't know, man, about 150, 155. We're like, oh, all right, that's fantastic. Off to a good start. You are a natural born athlete. That you can barely bench your body weight. Great. Okay. Killer. So, fine. No, not to say that your bench press correlates with your fighting skill or ability. Right. But we're like, all right, well, so what about like 160? You think you could do 160? And the guy's like, maybe. Okay, cool. What about 200? And he's like, what about 450? If we put 450 on the bar, could you bench press that right now? And he's like, no, that's crazy. What if you really, really wanted it?
Yeah, what if in your heart?
What if you just knew that you could do it and you just wanted it? And the guy, you could see like the smoke and the wheels grinding, right? And it's, people have this illusion, right? For whatever reason, they get into these things. And I think it's for all the wrong reasons. And I think it goes back to what you were saying, where people are looking for notoriety. I think, to piggyback off of that, it's validation. Yeah. All of us, man. And I don't care who you are. Yeah. And we all in some way, shape, or form want to be validated for who we are. Correct. And so we start looking outwardly to receive that validation. Yeah. Man, if I can go into the cage and win fights, then that'll validate me and my belief that I'm a badass. If I can go and become an actor, that'll validate me because now I'm really cool or I'm really talented.
And that's exactly with fighting. It's the same thing, right? In a lot of things, right? It's like the guy who goes.
Everything.
It's the guy who gets a drill sergeant hat and all of a sudden is the biggest cock in the room because like he has like fuck you, bro. If that hat makes you, you're a fucking sad individual. You know what I'm saying? Like fighting doesn't make you, right? You are not Josh Tyler. You're not the fighter Josh Tyler. You're Josh Tyler who is a fighter, is also a father, who was also a husband. You know what I mean? And that's this crazy thing. When people let these titles control them, they're fucking lost. I just sent a video to the Army Rangers. There's a bunch of Army Rangers that are going to be getting out of the military here soon. And there's an event going up there. I just couldn't make it because family shit, you know? And so I sent them a video. I said, don't let your title as an Army Ranger carry you. Don't think it's gonna carry because it fucking won't. It's gonna break your heart when everyone realizes like no one really gives a fuck if you're an Army Ranger. No one really does. They're gonna be like, thank you for your service. But you know what? They would have said that same shit if you were a fucking cook, if you're a dog handler, if you're a fucking nurse or a water purification expert. No one gave a fuck about the title. They cared that you fucking made the effort in serving our country. Same as in like fucking acting and like notoriety. Like no one gives a fuck about that you're an actor. It's like the fact that you're out there doing it is like good job. Proud of you. You're out there working. You're putting in the fucking work, right? And that kid who shows him wants to be a fighter, like, dude, put in the fucking work. I tell everyone that, like, I want to be an actor. Put in the work. Put in the work. Dude, I put in fucking almost 5 years of fucking YouTube fucking filming. You know what I mean? 5 years of that. Then we did Range 15. Then I did skits with my boy Jamie Keller. You know what I mean? Like, I put in the fucking work. I filmed my own fucking short. Like, all the shit. I just kept growing in the space of where I wanted to go. I kept developing in that space. If I want to be a fighter, I better fucking work on my fucking Muay Thai. I better work on my boxing. I better work on my jiu-jitsu. I better work on every goddamn thing. And then mentally, I have to be fucking prepared for that shit because it's a heartbreaker. You know what I mean? And so it's the same thing in every fucking field and every craft, even business. In business, man, I'm fucking up daily, right? You know what I mean?
I am such a hack fraud. Like
it's the hardest thing, bro.
And it doesn't. Here's the problem with business and being in the regular working world, right? Is like in fighting, if you have an issue with your coworkers, right, your training partners, or your boss, as in your coach, right, it's actually really easy to sort that out. You step on the mat. And you know, if you have a problem, you solve it there, right? If your coach / boss,
old school Rochambeau, dude.
It's like, all right, man, we'll sort this out. And then, you know, it's very easy to take that humble pie when that person either kicks your ass or, you know, you feel better because you kick their ass.
Right.
You can't do that in the real world. You can't solve anything in business. You know, if somebody fucks you over in business, you can't just go and choke them out.
No, it doesn't do nothing. No, it's fucking worthless.
I've got so many skills that I can't even use.
It doesn't compute to success, right? It's just, dude, trust me. That's like, I tell my wife all the time, like, you know, the world is becoming very, I think inconsiderate people are the worst people in the world, right? I think that the rudest fucking, that's what makes this life even harder, is inconsiderate drivers, inconsiderate people at the airport. Just inconsiderate people are just fuck-ups, you know? Back in the day, those guys got dealt with. You smack them in the motherfucking face. Right. You know what I'm saying? You smack, just like you would a fucking bully. You punch him in the fucking nose. That guy at lunchtime is fucking sharing your meal. You know what I mean? It's a good fucking person. There's no self-correction anymore, dude.
No. So people live with the utmost impunity. You can do literally whatever you want, say what you want. And, you know, because of the way our world and society is set up now, you can pretty much get away with it. Dude, and if you retaliate with some physical force, now your ass is getting thrown into the jail.
One, you're a fucking asshole, and two, it's like, what the fuck?
You can't do that.
Same as in business, though, bro. Same as you can't do nothing. I don't retaliate towards people. I don't even verbally give them the fucking energy. Right, because this day and age, in social media, in fucking all platforms where you're giving people fucking, if you say someone's name, you're giving them notoriety, right? You're giving them attention, you're giving them the energy, and you're giving them more followers that they do not deserve. Like when people say, hey, share this, man, make them famous, I want to be like, you're an idiot.
You're helping them out. The best thing to do is completely ignore them.
Ignore that shit.
You know what I mean? You don't acknowledge it, you move on, because, you know, one thing, and this is going back to acting and fighting or whatever, and this whole idea of notoriety and validation is dude, there's 7 billion people in the world. In the grand scheme of things, in any of it, no one fucking cares.
No one gives a fuck.
No one knows who you are. No one knows who I am. No one knows who that asshole is.
Yeah.
None of it fucking matters. You know what I mean? So for one piss ant to be running their mouth and saying some shit on social media, for you to even like have 3 seconds of acknowledgement of that person is a complete waste of time.
Dude.
And and I'm not saying that I don't entertain the idea. I don't know how many responses I've typed up and then deleted. And that's my catharsis. That's my getting out of my system. Is I fucking give them what for. You know what I mean? And then I delete it, and then I go about my day and never think of them again.
I just delete them real quick.
There you go.
And I even leave them there so they can comment again. And then if they do it again, they'll block them. And it's like, hey, done. I don't give a fuck, dude. It's crazy, man. When you say that no one cares, right? Like no one gives a fuck. I'd say that to my. I have a daughter she's the one who's a brilliant wrestler. Mm-hmm. She's really good. Last year she was ranked 8th in the state. This year she'll probably rank top 5. Had an awesome season, but getting her to warm up before a wrestling match was the hardest thing because she sees everyone watching her. She says
she's
everyone's
self-conscious.
I said, no one cares. Mm-hmm. No one cares about you, Yvette. Like no one's sitting there saying, let's watch how she trains. Let's make fun of her. No one cares because every other kid in there is worrying about their own training. I was like, and you have to understand that when you stop thinking about everyone else's opinion of you, you will sit there and warm up the best you possibly can because you know you need to go into a battle, right? You're going to go into war. But she's so self-conscious, and I get it, right? She's a kid. She's 13. She's in that weird phase, going to puberty, all the things that are going on. She's just so self-conscious. Like boys are looking at her because now she's in the age where boys like her, and it's this weird face. And I'm like, Mama, you're killing your own wrestling because you're mentally so deep in your head. And that's one thing I tell her is like, no one cares. Like no one does. And that extends into so many other facets, right? Because I struggle with that myself. Right. You know, wrestling in middle school and high school. Of course. Everyone does. What I mean? Yeah, it's one of those things where you're in the spotlight. I walk up to the ring thinking like, I got to try and look cool. You know what I mean? Yeah, you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't until, even in my fighting career, right, I had these little tics or rituals that I thought were important that needed to be done in order for me to have success.
Bro,
right?
Yes.
Or I had
every athlete does this.
Right? Or I had to give this air of, either I'm fucking super angry and hard ass. I tried that one out. That didn't work because I wasn't really angry.
It's embarrassing when you get your ass kicked that way.
Or it's like, dude, I'm just fucking, I don't even care, man. I'm so chill, bro. I'm just like ice, like nothing even phases me.
It's not true.
And it's like, well, that's not true either because on the inside, like I'm pretty racked up.
Everyone's different, right? And it's like when you try and hide the truth, bro, it shows. And it comes out in your game.
And it's a complete waste of energy. So all that 100%. Mental focus and energy that you're putting into, your warm up and your walkout and your demeanor and how you're going to stare this guy down and all that shit. It's like you're actually not focusing on anything that is relevant or important to the task at hand.
Dude.
And it took me a very long time to realize that. And I wish I could go back and I could tell,
dude, I know,
middle school, high school wrestler. Because again, to ourselves, we're inside our own heads, right? And everything that is happening, we're seeing it. But to the rest of the world, what you have to realize is they're doing the same thing with themselves.
No one cares.
There's no way they can pay attention to you. They don't fucking care.
They don't care.
And here's another secret. Those matches that I wrestled as a kid, the ones that she wrestles, the fights that I have, the wins, the losses, they don't fucking matter.
They don't.
No one and that's something
it's not going to determine the house you have. It's not going to determine the car you drive. It's not going to determine the wife that you marry.
No, there is, and we look at it right, and I think about the matches that I won or lost, the ones that I lost in high school or college, even some of the fights, and I'm like, man, if I won that wrestling match, I better be driving a better car today. That's fucking bullshit, dude. We do it to Little League sports. You're like, man, if little Timmy had just made that interception. One
of my good buddies, man, he's a good coach in the MMA world of the military, of the Army combatives. He's a well-respected coach, and he was actually one of Tim Kennedy's for many, many years.
Oh, nice.
And so his name's Chris Perkins. I'm not sure. So Perk, he told me, because his son was wrestling, my sons were wrestling. The first season my sons ever wrestled, they lost, I think it was like 10 matches straight, both of them. And I'm thinking like, fuck, should I take them out? Is it not their sport? I don't know. He goes, listen, man, no one gives a fuck about the state champ in fucking second, third grade. Like no one cares.
They don't care. even in high school.
Yeah.
Like I look at guys that I know, and this isn't a knock on them, right? But I know guys that were state champions, 3-4 state champions, and that success has actually no bearing of where they are in life now. Some of those guys are doing great things, some of them not so much, but it's meaningless.
And it's funny here, we believe it is, right?
Yeah,
Even
it's the most important thing at that time.
And it's not though, and that's what I try. It's trying to tell my kids all the time. Like I try to tell my daughter, like, look, you want to go get that? Go for it, dude.
Stand by. Let me grab him.
You can grab him. You can hold him. Don't worry about it, dude. I have kids. It's okay. Just put that on the ground. Don't worry about it.
Everything in here.
You're okay, dude. It's an office. Josh is knocking things down, and his baby's crying in the other room. He's gonna go pick him up and bring her in. But yeah. So I tell my 6-year-old daughter about. I was a prom king, but who gives a fuck? Like I never gave a fuck. I'm not Al Bundy talking about my 4 touchdowns in one game. I liked my high school times. I wish I did better in sports. Little things like what Josh was just talking about affected me big time. Like I hated when I wore the wrong pair of boxers during a football game. I played terrible.
Yeah.
Because I was uncomfortable and I felt like people were looking at my boxers. You know what I mean? Like the dumbest thing.
Of all the things to be thinking about and worrying about.
Everyone in the stands is looking at the stripes on my boxers through my white pants.
Totally.
And I'm embarrassed.
And they're like, dude, I bet that guy's terrible. He looks like a bum.
Yeah, and that was my head. And I had terrible games because I thought about what everyone else thought of me.
Yeah. Well, and so the hard part is society teaches us that, you have to win at all costs, right?
Yeah.
The only thing that matters is winning. And that's not to say that we just go out and everyone's a winner no matter. You tried hard, good job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's not the point. The point is you do your damnedest to win, right? And you try your best, you put in the time and make every possible effort to achieve success. But at the end of the day, you have to also understand that it's a blip in the radar. The sun will come up the next day. That was something I had to realize. Yeah. After my very first loss, right? Because I had been on a 10 fight. I was undefeated. 10 fight win streak, bro. I mean, and I thought for myself that was my meal ticket.
Yeah, and you don't even know what a loss
to
is.
my career, right? Was being this undefeated fighter. It's like, bro, if I can stay undefeated, I'm going to be the guy.
Yeah.
And then I lost to someone that man, my 1-year-old son here could probably beat up. And it shattered that illusion. But then I realized something in that loss. It's like, well, the sun still came out the next day. My wife still loved me. My family still loved me. My friends were still my friends. It's like, okay, that sucks. It hurt my pride. Yeah. But that was it.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing. There's one of the Gracies, Henzo, I believe it was, who said that. Henzo or Rickson? It might have been Hickson. Mm-hmm. Hickson, is that how they pronounce it, or Rickson? It's pronounced Hickson.
It's spelled Rickson.
Yeah, it's pronounced Hickson.
But in Portuguese, the R is with a H sound.
I always get that fucked up, but I think it was him who said, like, what would you have changed in your career? And he said he'd wish he lost more.
Wow.
And it's funny because he had a really good career.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like, you wish you'd lose more. Why? I was like, because we all learn from our mistakes. We all learn from our losses. We all learn from the hardships, right? You know what I mean? Like if I didn't lose in baseball as much as I did, I was a pitcher, dude, and I played outfield as well. But when I pitched, that was the most stress I've ever had because the team relies on you to do well.
Yeah, I mean the weight is on your shoulders,
right? And I've had several home runs hit off me to end the game, and it's like the biggest fucking heartbreaker.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing is what I've learned. I've been able to hand to my kids like it's cool because my dad wasn't there, and it wasn't for any other reason that he was just busy. He was a firefighter working in LA, and he usually was coaching my sister, so he wasn't there. So I didn't really have a lot of mentorship throughout my sports times. Mm-hmm. I don't know if my dad would have known how to mentor in sports because he wasn't much of an athlete of himself. He was a gang member, you know what I mean? And so I think the coolest thing that I've been able to hand down to my kids is the mindsets of sports and and having good, what's it called? Sportsmanship.
Yeah.
Right. And also being able to accept your losses and learn from the losses. Right. Being able to talk to them about the mental side of a fight before they get into it. Like I sit there for an hour drive before we go to our wrestling. We're talking like, all right, visually, what are you thinking? And my daughter's like, well, I'm thinking about my takedowns. All right, cool. And what do you have problems on? She goes sprawling. I'm like, good. So visually I'm coaching her through visually thinking about it, so then it's easier for her during the match. Yep. And it's something I never had myself, but blessed to be able to give that to my own kids because I've experienced it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I was, we were talking earlier, and it reminded me, it was like, there's so much of my life that I've been able to hand to my kids that I think has been like the best thing ever, right? Like your MMA career, whether you're completely content with it or not, that experience is what you're going to be able to hand off to your kids, which is super cool. Because what if one of your sons wants to wrestle? You can be like, hey, here's the mistakes I've made in my career, and here's the goods and the bads. What you're gonna face. Be ready. You're right. And like, don't you wish you had that? Oh,
for sure. Well, and I think, in their own way, my parents passed on those lessons, right? But now I struck out in a different arena that they didn't have an experience in. So there really wasn't a ton that they could offer in that realm. But I think that's our responsibility as parents.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Is to go and use what life experience we have and pass that down to give our kids as much of a leg up, you know what I mean, as they can have
100%.
In whatever they pursue. I mean, I think that is the point of it all. So for me, like, I want to immerse myself in as many things as I can and challenge myself. I mean, the reason why I gravitated towards wrestling to begin with was because that was the hardest thing that I had ever done. I mean, I played baseball and I was okay-ish. I played football and I was actually pretty decent at football. I was just tiny. And I realized, like, I'm never going to get any bigger.
There's probably not a future in that.
There's not a future in this, but when I found wrestling, I was like, man, this is, I loved it because it was so hard. It was so physically challenging and mentally challenging because it was an individual sport.
Yeah.
There was no team to rely on. It was just you. And as painful and difficult as that was, even at a young age, I knew that there was value in that. And that, has kind of carried me that idea of pursuing difficult things almost for the sake of the fact that they're hard as hell.
Yeah, just going for it.
I think that's what makes us better as men. I think that's what makes us better as people, as parents, to go out and try those things. And so that's why I admire a guy like you getting in all the different things that you're into. It's like, man, well, there's no reason that a guy, with this background should be getting into this thing. And then all of a sudden he's over here into that. And you know what I mean? All this stuff. And the next thing you know, it's like, damn, that dude's really successful in a bunch of stuff, but at the same time, I'm sure you failed miserably at a lot of things as well.
I'm still failing, right? It's still, I haven't got picked on multiple different auditions already, and it gets frustrating and discouraging. And
I'll talk to him about it.
You know how it goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
and
for
then
sure.
Same as business, dude. Like beer.com, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. It's a saturated market, and I got to trust that people believe that our product is superior to others, or at least fucking equal to, and they trust mine better, right? Whatever the case, it's a fucking hard ass thing, man. And it's funny. It's funny. I don't know where I'm going to end up, but I really do like the entertainment world for the reason of being able to be a voice for so many others, right?
Yeah.
To be able to express. And it's something that, like, a guy like me and you are probably not normal, right? We're more of the time we're going to be the physical guys. We grew up pushing weights. We grew up fighting. We grew up competing, and now I have to use my mental strengths, and my creative abilities to come up with a storyline I think is entertaining for others, and be able to create that, and bring it to life. I think for me has been the most therapeutic thing I've ever done because it's different.
Yeah, and for me, that's actually what spawned the notion of Savage Gentleman was the idea that I'd spent so much of my time in this, so much of my life cultivating these physical skills, right? How to fight, how to train, and that was kind of the only realm that I knew. And it wasn't until I started messing around with video stuff and editing that I realized, oh man, there's a creative side of me that I haven't tapped into for years, and it was very fulfilling. And I realized there's a whole side of the coin that I had been just neglecting. Yeah. And I didn't even realize it, right? And once I started finding creative outlets, for me, the whole thing about business itself is really the appeal is like the marketing, the strategy of marketing, like figuring out ways to, tell a story to compel people to get behind whatever it is you're trying to do.
Exactly, and that's fun.
It's incredibly fun for me. The numbers, the other stuff, man, that's not my joy. It's a part of it, right? Yeah. But what I really get excited about is the marketing stuff. because it's a creative outlet,
It
right?
is.
And so I can still be physical. I can still do my savage side,
Yeah.
right? But now I can also interplay the gentleman, the creative,
Yeah.
the artistic side. And I think we as men, again, even as humans, right? We need to be pursuing both of those, or else we start to stagnate.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think the name alone, Savage Gentleman, is such a powerful name because it speaks so much of, to me, what a man should be. Mm-hmm. I think there's always a time to be that savage. There is a time, and place for it, where I need to protect the family. I need to protect the flock. I'm gonna have to fuck some people up, and then the other time is like, you have to be a gentleman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I am a man of manners.
Yeah.
I believe in those more than anything. Yes, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I get shit on all the time. Like, don't call me ma'am. It makes me feel old. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm gonna call you that all day long. This is the way I am.
Yeah, I can't help it.
It's
I'm
not
sorry.
rude. I'm gonna say yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna say thank you. I'm gonna say please. Even to my own kids. Hey, son, can you grab my shoes real quick for me, please? Like, always. I just
I say yes sir and yes ma'am to my kids.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If this
Same.
little guy is grabbing stuff he's not supposed to, I'll tell him no sir.
No, sir. Right.
Because I think it's important that even at an early age you instill that notion of like,
100%.
hey, people deserve respect. And I think going back to what you were talking about of like inconsiderate
fucking people.
Yeah, it's because they don't value anyone else. They look at themselves,
Yes.
and that's the only thing that matters, right? They're so
Bro.
self-centered.
And that is like what I think ruins people. Like people that are so selfish, so into themselves, that don't acknowledge the people around them. Whoa, bro, that's a bad person.
It's a recipe for disaster.
That's not a person I want in my circle.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely
I want
not.
people that are so considerate about everyone else's feelings in the room. Like, that person gives a fuck, right? They have empathy, they have sympathy, they have all these normal traits that I think it makes someone so human that I draw to people that give a fuck about other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a quote, I believe it was Oscar Wilde, that said, a gentleman never insults someone unless it's on purpose. Essentially, right?
Nice.
So it's like you have the wherewithal, you have the sensitivity to understand within a mixed group of people. You're never going to say anything that will be, you're not going to shit on someone on accident. If you're going to rip into it,
because you're ready to fight
it's
the
on
motherfucker.
purpose.
Because you're ready to fight.
Yeah, it's deliberate, right? If I'm going to insult you, it's because you deserve it and I mean it, not because I'm just flippantly saying something and didn't realize because I wasn't being considerate, right?
I love that. That's dope. Fucking A, man. Well, dude, we're coming up on the end of this thing. I got to head to another meeting with a senator.
Hello.
Yeah, with a senator. Yeah,
that's a big deal.
We're trying to work on a suicide prevention
Oh man, that's
play.
good stuff.
Yeah, I wrote a play that's
Nice.
pretty cool, and so we're gonna try and do that. I'd love to try and get you on board. I'd love to try and get you involved in some of the acting stuff that we're doing.
Man, I'd love to. I mean, that's something that I just find fascinating.
It is.
I think it's so cool.
You're gonna be so blown away when you actually get to do more. Like really get to do more. It's I try and tell people it's therapeutic, and I don't know any other way to say it, but it is rejuvenating. It is thrilling, and it is intimidating. It is all these things without war. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
So, hey man, go ahead and throw out some of your links where some people can find you. I know you have your baby. I want to make sure he's good too.
Yeah, no, he's chilling. He's
It's
just
no big
throwing
deal,
my
man.
phone on the ground.
Hey, I've been through it, dude. It's
I know
all
you're a
good.
family man, so you can appreciate trying to make things work with little ones.
100%.
He's having an okay day today.
It's
He
all
just
good,
woke
man.
up early from his nap. If people want to check me out, they can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Josh Tyler MMA. And then if you want to check out what Savage Gentleman is doing, that is Savage Gentle Man. Minus the crying baby. Savage Gentle Man, MAN, official on Instagram. And we've got a Facebook page. We've got a podcast that we've got to get you to come on eventually.
For sure.
Man, really appreciate it. I think he's hungry.
No
so I'm gonna
worries,
go
man.
feed
Do your
him.
thing, brother.
Thanks, buddy.
No worries. Thanks for coming. All right, guys, we're out of here.
I did it.